Hello. I decided to do a little painting tutorial, mostly because everybody's stuck at home watching Netflix and using all the internet. And my Netflix keeps crashing, so I need y'all to get off the TV for a little while and go paint, so I can get back to binge watching The Office. So anyway, what I've got going on here, I've got a pre-stretched 16 by 20 black canvas. It's got a little bit of color on it. Up top, kind of a crimson purple color, and then down here I have a little bit of a turquoise color you can't really see yet, but you'll see that a little bit later on when we put some white on top of it. Anyway, before we get started, you'll want to go ahead and get yourself a painting cap. That bad boy does all sorts of wonders while you're painting, so go ahead and find one of those laying around. And okay, I think we're just going to get started. Got my palette here, I got some colors around the outside. Normally they run all the colors on the bottom of the screen so you can see what you need, but I don't know how to do any video editing, so just look right there and push pause and those are the colors that you need. Okay, we are going to start. We'll just grab about a 1-inch brush there. Going to go into some white paint. Just drag it out. Don't need a whole lot of paint on here, just a little bit of white paint there on the end of your brush. Tap it into your bristles. And you've got to decide where your light source is going to be in this painting. I think for me it's going to be right over here somewhere. And we'll just kind of start blending that white paint. You can see the purple, the crimson purple color that was already on the canvas is going to start showing through. We'll blend outwards, outwards, outwards. It can get a little more subtle the further out you go. Use little X strokes. For this painting we'll keep the corners pretty dark. Oh, canvas falling over there. Oh, good. Got a little white spot there. That's all right. So, like I said, we're going to keep the corners pretty dark. We'll come back in and add a light spot here in the middle, but just dance in a happy little sky. It's going to be a pretty simple painting. So, even if you've never painted before, you should be able to do this one. Just go down to your local paint supply store and take your wallet because stuff's expensive, but you can get everything you need at Michael's or Joann's or something like that. And it's a fun little hobby that'll keep you entertained during the whole quarantine of 2020. Alright, getting kind of close. We're going to add some more light there in the middle. And you can just make this as bright or as dull as you want it. The more you blend it, the darker it gets. And if it's getting too dark, you can always clean off your brush and go back into your white. I'm not cleaning my brush because it takes too long. But alright, we're getting close. We're getting close. You just want all sorts of little doers up here in the sky. You don't want a dead sky up here. Lots of different variations and colors. Alright, blend that out. I think that'll about work for what we're doing. Let me get one more little bit of white there. Want that just a little bit brighter. Okay, now this brush has got quite a lot of paint on it, so I think I'm going to swap brushes. Just do a little bit of blending. Okay. Painting is really not that hard. Anybody can do it if you just spend a little bit of time, learn a few techniques, and I think it'll be a good time killer, good little hobby while everybody's stuck inside. Again, get off the internet so that I can use it and make yourself a nice little picture. If you are watching Netflix, look up Bob Ross and he'll teach you some good painting tricks. Okay, yeah, it's probably a good enough little sky for what we need. Next thing, we're going to drop in a mountain in our painting. So to make a mountain, blend that out just a little bit more. Didn't like that. We're going to use some dark paint, so I've got some black up here. You know, flatten it out. You got your old palette knife here. Flatten out your paint. Get a little roll of paint on the end. You can kind of see there. And we've got to make a first big decision, and that's where's our mountain going to live. I think in my world it lives right there. And you can just make your mountain any shape you want it. Mountains come in all different shapes and sizes depending on where you are in the world. So you just make it however you want. I think we're just going to kind of do a little mountain today so you can see how to do it, but we won't take too much time on it. You can see I'm scraping excess paint off as I go. You don't want too much extra paint on the canvas. And we don't care what's going on down here right now. We just want a nice crisp edge up top to work with. Alright, I think I got one more little bump right there, and we'll just blend that off. Over here, maybe one more little bump, and we'll blend that off too. Alright, scrape off the paint. Now we're going to go back and grab another brush. Any brush will do. We'll just use, we'll just use this little 1/2-inch brush or so. And you're going to pull that mountain out. Just kind of blend it off into the distance. Pull some of that excess paint. You want to keep your sharp edge up top and just get rid of some of that paint. Alright. Something about like that. Now we're going pretty quick here in this video. Try to keep it under 30 minutes, but when you're painting at home, take as long as you want. You can have fun with these mountains. Heck, you can paint a whole canvas full of mountains, scrape it all off and start all over again. Okay. Something like that. We got a nice little mountain shape. Again, not really worried what's going on down low right now. Next step, we're going to add some highlights to our mountain. So, clean the old knife off, clean knife. And you can make these highlights whatever color you want. I think, I got a lot of white paint on my palette tonight, so I think we'll use white. Again, pull it out flat, cut off a little roll of paint, get a little roll of paint on the end of your knife. Now you're going to pick where your light source is hitting your mountain. So ours is going to be on the left side here, and you're just very little pressure. Going to touch, and just let that canvas, or let that paint slide on the canvas. And let it jump around, play a little bit. Canvas will take what it wants, and you'll get all sorts of little jets and holes and everything, little places for the mountain goats to play up there in the mountains. They need somewhere to play. Bob Ross loved his nature. He loved his animals. Okay, a couple more highlights over here in the middle. Just kind of drag it out. Now I don't like my mountains to have too straight of a line in the middle, so I like to kind of play with them a little bit. Take them out, make some little doers here and there. Alright, one more, let's see, I think the light's hitting right over there somewhere. Oop, we'll come back and fix that in just a minute. We don't have mistakes when we're painting, we just have happy accidents. Happy accidents. You can fix pretty much anything, this style. Alright, one more little highlight. Okay, that's good enough for the girls I go with. Okay, now we're going to mix up a shadow color. So for that we'll take a little bit of phthalo blue, a little bit of that black color, a little more blue, a little more white. We're just looking for kind of a grayish black color. Maybe just a touch more of that black. Yeah, that'll work. Something about like that'll work. Just a gray-blue color. Cut off your roll of paint. Now we're going to go back and put some shadows on this mountain. So you just decide where those shadows live and then drop them in. Again, not use much pressure here, just barely touching the canvas. Barely touch it. Over here. Gotta make those little noises. Gotta make those little whistles and noises when you're painting, or else it won't work. Alright. Something like that. Give a little color right there. Now we've got to give this little peak up front shadow. Every little peak needs needs its own shadow. Can't leave anybody out. And, okay. And when you're painting at home, you've got a little more time. You can take your time on these mountains. Let's put a shadow over here. Drag it out. You paint them however you see them. If you're living in Alaska, your mountains are going to look a little different than living in southern Utah. I probably should have painted some red rock if we're going with some southern Utah mountains. But anyway, something about like that. You can go back and fiddle and play with these things all you want, but that'll at least give you an idea how we make a mountain. Wipe off the old knife again. Alright, now that we've got the basic shape laid out, we're going to go back and we're going to blend out some of this mountain. So I'm just going to grab another brush here, clean dry brush, and you're just going to tap the base of the mountain. Tap, 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 and blend upward. And it's important that you follow the angles on your mountain. Tap, blend upward. And you'll see it's kind of creating this misty area down here. We don't really care what's going on too low because we're going to come and cover that up, but we just want some mist at the base of the mountain. Tap out some of the shadow color. Blend, blend, blend. Alrighty. Really, anybody can paint. Anybody can paint. Even if you've never painted before, go grab you some brushes. Follow along. If I can do it, you sure as heck can do it. Okay. Something about like that. I think I want a little more white. A little more white right there, so I'll just get a little dab of white paint. There you go, that's a little better. The reason that this is turning blue at the bottom is because I've got some greenish blue color underneath on the canvas. So, alright, let's just blend that a little bit. Okay, that'll work good enough. Shoot, this can kind of be a bit of a fantastical painting here. Okay, now I think in our world, I think we've got some little foothills living over here that are going to kind of come in front of our mountains. So we'll go through some dark color. Got some black, a little crimson. Back into our dark. Shooting a little blue might work. Doesn't really matter, we're just looking for a dark color. And to load your brush up, you pull it flat on both sides, wiggle it around a little bit. Just get a lot of paint on there. And we'll just go in and we'll just begin tapping in some foothills. So maybe start up here somewhere. And you decide what shape you want them, where you want them to go. I think I'll kind of have mine do something like that. There we go. Now to make those look like they're little trees on those hills, you can take and just softly pull upward. There you go, and that'll make it look like there's a bunch of little trees on that foothill. Might be kind of hard to see on the camera from there. I'll get you a little closer. Just 1 second. And when you're pulling up, make sure you go straight up. If you pull to the side, it'll look like a big old giant sneezed and blew all your trees over. Let me get this a little bit closer here. And maybe you can kind of see. Anyway, so we've got a little foothill. Now what we're going to do is put a little bit of mist at the base of that, and then we'll be able to add another layer in front of it. It's important to add some mist because it separates your layers. So we'll just tap in a little bit of color. Just a little bit of white on the brush. We'll come back and blend this in just a minute, but just want a little layer of mist. Okay. Something about like that. Not really worried about what's going on down here right now. Most of this is going to be covered up with the foreground anyway. Come back with another little brush. Blend that just a little bit. Blend it. Pull upward. Blend. Alrighty. Good enough, good enough. Now we're going to come back in. We're going to put one more layer of those little foothills in front. So back to our dark color. Load your fan brush up. Hold the canvas so it doesn't fall over. And we'll add another layer of trees here. And I think it'll go right on down there somewhere. Now, a little more color. Alright, pull upward. Make it look like little trees. Now because you've got your mist in there, if you want, you can add a little waterfall. So we'll just real quick get a little bit of white paint on a brush, if I can find one. A little white paint. And shoot, where's our waterfall? Maybe right here somewhere. You're just going to go slightly over and down. Gotta make those little noises. Alrighty. Let's blend that just slightly. And shoot, just like that, you've made yourself a nice little waterfall out in the distance. You know, it was that easy to make a waterfall, and you've got absolute power when you're painting. You can do whatever you want. Anything you want. Okay, I think on this other side we'll just drop in real quick. Oh, some more color, maybe another little hill over here. Just getting some color on the canvas. I think we're gonna have some water coming in here. Cover this up. Tap, tap, tap. Alright, pull up. Straight up. I'll just kind of blend that off into the distance. Alrighty. Now, like I said before, we've actually got some blue and green color mixed on the canvas. So we're going to get a little fan brush here, get a little bit of white paint on it, and watch here, watch what happens. So when we put some white on there, that color underneath really starts showing up. And you can, if you want your water pretty dark, then you wouldn't put much white paint in this area. If you want it a little brighter, then you put more white paint. Totally up to you. That's one of the fun things about painting, is you can do anything you want on there. Anything you want. Shoot, Bob used to say the only power he had at his house was taking out the garbage can, but when he got on the canvas, he could literally create worlds. Alright, we're just going to keep that coming up a little bit. We're gonna blend this water just a little bit more in just a second, but we'll put a little more color down here. Shoot, we'll just get it all the way down to the bottom there. Okay, something about like that'll work. And we'll go back, another dry-ish brush, and we'll blend that out a little bit. Try to do horizontal strokes. If you do vertical strokes, your water will kind of look all ski-wampus, out of whack. Alright, back there, blend it just a little. And who knows where it goes. Shoot, it could go all the way up to the base of that mountain. Who knows? And I'm not really concerned about the edges right now, because I think we're going to have some trees and bushes and stuff in the foreground here, but yeah, that'll give us some water to look at. And you make your water whatever color it is in your mind, in your world. I kind of thought a greenish blue would be a pretty color today. Okay, so that's about what we've got so far. Now I think we'll add some big old trees in the foreground here. To do that, first we're just going to get a dark color on for the base. Then we'll come back and brighten them up here in just a second. We'll go into our crimson, black, and big decision, where's your tree live, I think. Yep, right there. Here's your bravery test. Okay, now to make a evergreen tree, load your fan brush up. You're just going to use the corner of your brush. You're going to make little Z strokes moving down. So corner of your brush, Little Z strokes back and forth. And you push harder and harder the lower you get on your tree. I gotta hold the canvas up so it doesn't fall over. And we'll come separate all these branches when we do our highlights a little later. Right now we're just getting some color on there. Alrighty. Shoot, everybody needs a friend. We better add another tree in here. Everybody needs a friend. This one, oh shoot, I think we might even do him a little bigger. Almost off the canvas there. And we're kind of covering up our little foothill back there, but we know he's there. We know he's there. Alright, more black color. Again, just those Z strokes. And you can make these trees as fat and healthy as you want, or you can leave some branches off, leave some bare spots, however you want them. And that's just going to look like a bunch of dark color on your screen right now. But we'll come back in just a minute or two and put some highlights. And while we've got this old dirty brush going, we'll just add some dark color down here. We'll come back and put some, I don't know, some bushes or trees or grass or something down here. Alrighty, I'm about running out of black paint. Something like that. And take a little bit more time, be a little bit more precise when you're at your house. I'm just throwing some color on there right now and showing you how to do it. I'm going to get a little more black paint on my palette. Alright. Now on this other side, we don't want it to feel left out. Maybe we'll have we don't want to cover up our waterfall. Maybe we'll have a tree right about here somewhere. A little bit of a smaller one. Give him some limbs, some branches. Trees are like people. They need arms too. Little arms, little branches. Alright, got some dark color there. And maybe we'll add another big tree over here. Shoot, sometimes I can cover up my whole painting with big old trees, but if you don't want a tree in your world, well, by all means, leave them out. My world, I can do whatever I want. If I want to make a tree, I can make a tree. Okay. Add some branches on him. Alright, get some dark color down on the base. And same as the other side, we'll just add some dark color in the corner. Don't know exactly what's going to be there yet, but get some dark color. More paint on the brush. How are we doing time-wise? Oh shoot, we got about 7 minutes to finish this bad boy. We better get a move on. Okay. Now, we're going to wipe off, we'll get a new fan brush, and we want to add some highlights to these trees. Let me show you first. That's about what it's looking like right now. Now we're going to highlight the trees, throw in some bushes and twigs and stuff in the front, and see how it looks. Alrighty, for highlight we'll get a little yellow, mix that with a little dab of phthalo blue, a little black. That'll kind of make a green color. Yeah, something like that. And same thing for the highlights. You're just going to highlight one side of the tree. You don't want to cover up too much of your dark color. You just want a few highlights here and there. If you cover up too much of your dark, it takes the depth out of your picture. And this is where you decide which tree's in front of the other, what their shape is, all that stuff. I think give this guy some highlights. Painting. Bob always said you don't have to go to 10 years of school if you want to be a painter. Well, you might if you want to be a famous painter, But if you just want to have a little hobby, something to do to let you relax and enjoy, this is something that everybody can do. Everybody can do this. Alrighty, let's not forget our trees on the other side. Again, a little yellow, a little black, a little blue. Give these guys some highlights. Let me get out of your way there. Okay, something like that. And if highlight's too bright, you can just tap it a couple of times and it'll lighten up a little bit. Alright. One more tree and then we'll move on to the bushes. Alright, one more. Once you know kind of a few of the basic techniques, how to paint a mountain, how to paint a tree, how to paint water, you can pretty much create anything you want. Anything you want. Alrighty, I think something about like that ought to work. Okay, show you how that's looking. So they're still pretty dark. We want this painting to be pretty dark, but that'll at least help them stand out a little bit there. Now in the foreground in these corners, I think I want some bright bushes. We'll go with, maybe we'll go with some yellow first and see what happens from there. So I got a big brush here. I'm just going to load up quite a bit of color on it. I'm mostly going to use the corner of the brush. Load it up and just let's pop in some happy little bushes. My goodness. So if you get too much paint on there, you can just continue tapping it and it'll dilute it a little bit. Boy, that's a bright bush. That thing will blind you. That'll pop right off the canvas. Alright. Big old bush. Okay, load your brush up again. And you can mix up the flavors a little bit. Get a little yellow, a little yellow ochre, maybe even a little red here and there. And maybe we've got one right there. It's a little different color. Yes, whatever. Yes, whatever. And you can do these bushes as big or as small as you'd like. I'm kind of doing big ones here, but if you want to do individual small ones, you can do that too. One more down here in the corner. And maybe we've got one more little one right there. But just do one at a time. Take your time. Make them any way you want. Alrighty, on to the other side. I think I like that. Kind of like that yellow color. There, hold my canvas. We'll do a big bush right over here. He lives right on off this side of the canvas. Big old bush. Alrighty. Oh, we got about 2 minutes left. We're getting close. We're getting close. Oh, another one lives right there. Yeah, these little bushes, they live right in the end of your brush. All you gotta do is tap them out. They're in there. You just gotta tap them out. Maybe that one goes right off the canvas too. And one more. I think we'll go. Let's give him a little orange bush right there. And these bushes just sit here and watch this lazy river all day. They've got a pretty good life, these bushes. Okay, now I think we're just gonna add a few more details and we'll about have a finished painting here. I think in my world, I think I see a couple more trees. Right, growing right out of these bushes. Yep. I see a dead old tree right here. He goes right on up through our mountain. Shoot, he's a tall one. He might even keep going a little further. Yep. This old tree's been there for who knows how long. He's lived a good life. He's been watching that river for years and years, and shoot, he's about ready to move on to the next life, it looks like. I think we might give him a little friend. Everybody needs a friend. We'll just give him a little friend right here. Just a little more. There we go. And maybe on this side, oh, maybe we've got a tree right. Yep, right there. What do you do now? What do you do now? And he goes right on up. Right on up here. Now I don't want him the exact same height as that tree, so I'm going to take him up just a little higher. Yeah, this tree's got a name. His name's Clyde. Clyde's my friend. He's my buddy. He lives right there in this brush. Just got to get him out. Get him out every now and then. All right, maybe. I think we've just got one or two more little things coming out down here. I'm just going to get a little thinner brush, a little bit thinner line. Back in my black paint. And yeah, I think we just got a few little. Alrighty, my phone stopped recording there for just a second. Oh, I dropped my canvas, or my palette. Anyway, all I did was add a couple little twigs down here. We're going to finish this up. Just want to put a few, maybe an arm or two on this old tree. And then we'll put a few highlights in, and we'll call it a finished painting. Maybe that's got a, give him a black color. Little arm there. Alright, let's add a couple of highlights. Color finished. So for your highlight color, you're going to want to get some yellow ochre. Maybe a little brown, but I don't have any brown, so we'll kind of mix that dark black in with it, and some white. Yeah, that ought to work. Give that a shot. A little roll of paint. This is just like when you were making your mountains. And you just let the old canvas take it off your palette knife. Not a lot of pressure, just like when you were doing your mountains. Okay. A couple more highlights on this guy. Just touching. Apparently I ran out of iCloud storage, so we're going to try this again. I was just finishing up adding some highlights on these trees. And the highlights are just to add a little light to your trees and set them apart from the background. Sometimes I like to go back and blend these a little bit with a brush, but tonight I think I'm just going to do it with a knife. Okay, something like that. Don't want to forget his little friend. Highlights on him. Alright. Now onto this other side here. We'll first add just a couple on this little twig. This little tree right there. Maybe a few on this one. That'll work. And over on this big tree, this big old dead tree. And just kind of tap and pull. Canvas will take some of it, some of it will stay on your knife. It'll look like bark. Yep, it'll feel like it too if you don't blend it out with a brush. Alright, just about finished here. Give it on this side. Right on down here. Shoot, I think we about have a finished painting there. Just one or two more over here. Okay. Alrighty. Now in your world, if you see some more things, you go ahead and add them, paint them, add anything you want. I saw one more right there. Bet you didn't know he was living right there, but he was. Okay, and maybe we'll add one little branch over here on this guy. There we go. There we go. Alright, with that I think we'll sign that and say we've got a finished painting. Again, this was just a quick little example showing you how easy it is to paint. I think that took us about 30-35 minutes, and yeah, I mean, they're not going to hang it at any museums, but we've got a semi-decent painting here, and anybody can do it. Super fun little hobby, especially when you're stuck in your house. Alright, we've got a signature on there. Let me get you one last little look. Oh, my hand's a little shaky there, but alright, so that's what we did. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out. I probably won't be able to help you or know the answers, but I can give it a try. So anyway, thanks, and we'll see you next time.